Hello everyone. Unplugged Talks with Innovation Labs alumni. I have with me Adrian Furtună, founder and CEO of Pentest Tools, our host today. Andrea Purcaru, head of operations at Rayscape, and Andrei Pătrașcu, founder of Tendersite. Just for a short introduction, let's tell the people what your companies do, like a very short pitch, and also a short introduction of yourself. When have you been to Innovation Labs and how was it?
Hello everybody, I'm Adrian and welcome to pentesttools.com. Pentest Tools is a Romanian cybersecurity company, and it creates a product for testing the security of websites and network infrastructures, which is accessible via cloud. And this is our main line of business, and we also have a secondary line of business of professional services, where we have a group of ethical hackers who do manual security testing for our customers. And we are an Innovation Labs alumni from 2017 generation, and this year we're celebrating 8 years of Pentest Tools, because we have decided that the date when we won the grand prize at Innovation Labs to be the birth date of Pentest Tools. So this year we're celebrating 8 years.
Long live and prosper.
Thank you.
Andrea?
Okay, then I'll go next. Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I'm the head of operations at Rayscape. My voice is not helping me. And at Rayscape, we're developing AI-powered radiology solutions that are designed to assist radiologists analyzing chest X-rays and lung CT scans. So basically, our products are trying to help them analyze the images faster and with an increased accuracy. Being here feels like home, because indeed Rayscape, back then Xvision, was born within Innovation Labs. The founding team participated in various hackathons, and they were very good as a technical team, but then participating in Innovation Labs made them decide that they should start a business, because they were solving a real problem, and building a startup was the next obvious choice. So we are very grateful to all the mentorship and all the people that we've met through the entire journey. Rayscape was born a bit more than 6 years ago, so we are a little bit younger compared to Pentest Tools. But I think that we have grown a lot over the last couple of years, and we're super proud to be here today.
So my turn, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian, for hosting us today. I'm Andrei. I think we know each other. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So for those home, I'm Andrei. I did programming for 20 years, more or less. Actually, I'm 23, so I guess 14 years or something like that. And I'm from Tendersite. Tendersite is the operating system for government contracting. So when some authority buys something, you don't go with the car to the store. You need to publish a tender. So instead of spending 2 weeks writing the bid, you spend 2 hours. So what we did is to map the entire tendering flow and build the tools at each step. And we are younger than our colleagues here. We are not yet launched, so I wouldn't say that we are born yet, but we started in 2024.
At Innovation Labs or before?
And that's the story? No.
Yeah.
Actually, we started with Brini. We went through Innovation Labs with Brini, which was a selling error source generator. And then we shifted to Tendersite.
Okay. So we have the ages of the companies, but just for some context for the people here and for the people who will watch this session, give me some numbers that can be public about your companies. Number of clients, not for Tendersite.
It has.
It has?
A lot.
Well done. So number of clients, some key numbers of the company, just to see the scale after 8, 6, and 1 year.
Okay. So in terms of number of employees, we have about 65, I guess. We're right now in the third office location. The first one was at the old tech hub. Then we had the smaller office, and then we grew and we moved to this office. In terms of number of customers, we're above 2,000 customers, and most of them are from the US and Europe. We have a very small market share in Romania, and this was intentional. And yeah, we are proud to say that these customers are spread in more than 100 countries. And this is because Pentest Tools has been designed from the start as a business over internet. And as you know, internet reaches every corner of the world, and there is no reason to limit yourself to a certain geography or country.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're aiming to catch Pentest Tools from behind. RayScape right now has 20 employees. Out of these 20 employees, 6 of them are part of our medical team, so they are working with us on developing the product. They are radiologists. Our products are deployed in more than 150 public and private institutions across 14 different countries. Most of the countries are still in Europe, but we also have deployments in United States, in Hong Kong, Singapore, so the reach that we have is global. Regarding the investment, we got 2 million in investment until now. The latest round that we have raised was a seed round, was almost 2 years ago, and right now we are looking to raise a seed extension. So if you know any investors that might be interested, that's a good opportunity to pitch. And yeah, basically we are looking to expand our global reach and to go further into the United States market to get more customers there. And regarding the MRR and all the other business-related metrics, we just reached 1 million in ARR last year, so that was quite a milestone for us.
Good.
Okay, so we have a lot to catch up, but no, Tendersite has currently around 2,000 users. Last year we did 6.1 million euro in revenue. It's not recurring, that's our biggest issue right now. And regarding the deployments, again, we are a bit more unique in terms of business because we operate in countries that have their own legislation, their own laws. So we need to comply with each. So we have an approach by the market. So we first have to scale in the first market, then we move to a second market. So it's global to be.
So 6.1 million in revenues, these are contracts from companies who use the products for public tenders?
Sold licenses, yeah.
Okay, nice. So let's just go a bit back to the past. When you were like these guys here, when you were in Innovation Labs, do you remember how were you back then, in 2024? How did you choose to join the program, and how did it change your approach? It was, I don't know, let's start with Pentest Tools, case by case. Was the product launched? The product was launched when you joined Innovation Labs?
We had a working version, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And why did you choose to go to Innovation Labs back then?
It was a pure coincidence. So the story is that I had been working at Pentest Tools as a side job along the main job that I had back then. I was a penetration tester in one of the big 4 companies, and at some point, we became parents, and I had three areas to split my energy. It was the family, the full-time job, and Pentest Tools. And I chose to quit the job. And after that, I moved to work at a co-working space. And at that point, someday, Răzvan Ruginiș, who is one of the co-founders of Innovation Labs. I just passed by, and we chatted a little bit. He was also one of my professors at the faculty, and I told him about my project. I was the only contributor back then, and he sparkled an idea, and he said that, wow, this project really fits Innovation Labs, the program that we're working at, and you should make a team and come join the program. And yeah, that happened, and it was a good choice.
So you were alone back then in Pentest tools. How did you find a team to join Innovation Labs?
So I found the team through Răzvan and the Innovation Labs team. There were 2 students back then, and very good people, and they stood with us for at least 4 years after that. And yeah, we matched and started from there.
Yeah.
So just to give you the full picture, I'm not one of the co-founders, but I was the first employee in the company. So I know very well the stories about Innovation Labs and how RayScape was born back then. The founding team is a technical team. There are 4 co-founders, and all of them were colleagues at the Timișoara Technical University. They were participating at multiple hackathons, and they were winning hackathon over hackathon, so they were very good on the technical side. And then they just heard about Innovation Labs, and they decided that, okay, let's take our chance, let's participate and see what happens then. We had an MVP, so we have identified the problem. We knew how to solve it or how we can solve it. But after participating into Innovation Labs, they saw that they can actually build a startup. So Innovation Labs wasn't just another hackathon that they were supposed to win, but actually was the place that gave them all the knowledge for starting a startup and building a company that it's still growing. So I think that we own Innovation Labs a lot.
Yeah.
Our story is unusual because we had the startup before Innovation Labs. It was a full-fledged product. I'm talking about Brini. And at that point, a teacher from BUS, ASE, told me to, hey, there's this program, go. I said, okay. I saw hackathon and I thought it's a programming hackathon. Then I got there and there was no coding, you know, so yeah, basically that's the story. Tendersight is actually to combine it both a bit because we are a bit off the context here with 2 startups. My colleagues here have a better story to tell you, but we actually started Tendersight 1 week before going to Innovation Labs, and actually 5 days or something like that. So I've been working for Brini and Tendersight in the same time.
So Tendersight was not in Innovation Labs, but Brini was.
Exactly. And yeah. Tendersight did the revenue and Brini.
Regarding this, just wanted to add some context. Adrian, the people who joined you in Innovation Labs, are they still in the company right now?
No.
No?
They are not yet, no.
How did it happen? It was just a Innovation Labs project?
So one of them also had an entrepreneurship mindset, and he was the first to leave and to try to make his own stuff. And he succeeded. He also has a good business.
What business?
We can discuss after.
Yeah.
The spicy gossip.
And so the first one was Raul Vintilă. The second one, Vlad Furcană. He stood with us about 4 years, and at some point he decided that he wants to try something else, and he just took another opportunity. But we're in good relationships with all of them.
Yeah. And Andrea, for you, because as you mentioned, you were the first employee of a 4-people technical team. What did you find in RayScape, Xvision back then?
Yeah, so I think that was a leap of faith on both sides because they hired me after their first investment round. So Stefan was the only one who stepped into a business role, into the CEO role, but he needed someone that would help him to grow the business locally and prove that the investors weren't wrong and we are able to get some customers. I don't have any B2B sales experience or healthcare experience. I was working with Accelerator, which is an acceleration program for tech companies, and it was just a very good fit between us because I was looking to join a startup. I've been learning a lot in Accelerator about how to work with startups. I made some networks, some connections, I gained some knowledge, but then I was looking to put all of this knowledge into a more, practical context. And back then, Rayscape was looking to hire somebody, and I was, okay, that's the perfect fit. They considered that I had the entrepreneurial mindset that they were looking for. And I think that it was the good choice on the both sides because I've been working with them for 5.5 years now. So yeah, I think that it was a good bet.
And for you, Andrei, because you mentioned that Brini was in Innovation Labs, Tendersite now, and Tendersite has revenue. Why?
Why what?
Why Brini does not have revenues, did not have revenues, and Tendersite worked?
It's a tough story. It's a long story actually, but in short, to put a physical product on the market, you need a lot of capital. So you need to build a mold, which is expensive, very expensive if you are doing a device this big. Like a mold is something still big, like this big, and it's very expensive again. And we didn't have the capital last year, actually in this period. And I've been a programmer for my life, so doing programming is easy. You just open the PC or laptop or phone or whatever you use, and you start coding, right? And you launch a product. It's much easier, much cheaper, much everything you know, much better than doing a physical product. So the short answer is we didn't have the money.
Yeah, a good story. But because I want to find out what were the companies, for example, Pentest tools and Rayscape, before and after joining Innovation Labs. What changes did you make after joining the program? And I don't want to ask this just because we are here at Innovation Labs, but things you learned to mentors, to sessions, to the people you met in the program that made an impact on the company, maybe on what it is today?
Well, a lot of things changed, but mainly during Innovation Labs, there were a lot of light bulbs which started to lighten up, and we started to treat Pentest tools as a business rather than a hobby project. And this meant starting to think of the customers' needs, since Pentest tools was initially designed after my own experience in the industry. After a period, we started to also look from the perspective of the customers and started to do various interviews and found out that the match was not 100% between what I thought it was good for them and what they really needed. That was one of the aspects, and the other one was meeting really interesting people who helped us along the way. And I could name a few. Andrei, for instance, who is also the co-founder of Innovation Labs. He also joined Pentest Tools at some point as a co-founder. Also Diana Olar is also a member of the board in Pentest Tools. So I could not say that there were some immediate things that we got from the program, but we got things for long term, and that were a bit more helpful than maybe some investment money that we could get immediately after.
Yeah, I think that we had a similar experience because there are two major things: the power of the network and the fact that within Innovation Labs you have access of a lot of very cool mentors that can help you on business-related side, product development, programming, whatever, you name it, and you can find it within Innovation Labs ecosystem. And other than that, it was the fact that you should build your products with your customers in mind. So as mentioned, the founding team is a technical team, so they didn't have a medical background. I didn't have any medical background when I joined the company, so they learned that they should get to their users and talk with them. So after Innovation Labs, they went to Timișoara County Hospital. They got some radiologists that were the early adopters, and they helped them building the product since the very beginning. Some of them are still in our team. One of them is our chief medical officer, so we grew the relationship with them. But even after that, all the deployments that we've done with our customers in mind. And with our very early adopters, we had a lot of focus groups, customers interviews, just to make sure that we are building some products that are built for radiologists, to radiologists. And this is one of the key feedback that we're getting from all the deployments that we have, no matter the country. The fact that they see and they appreciate that RayScape is built by radiologists, so with the customers in mind. And this is something that we learned definitely during the Innovation Labs.
Andrei, for you, I will tell, because I want to talk about tender side. I'm curious, how did you, you mentioned the problem that you're solving, which is which some people know it's a big one. How did you do the customer interviews, and how did you reach this product market fit for the product? Because it's a field that's complicated by design, this of tenders.
It is by design, exactly. So I was the first customer actually, because I actually was involved in government contracting for a bit. I've helped some partner companies submit some bids, and they submitted the bid, but I was the one writing. And I felt the problem right away. Like I was building a compliance metrics. It's basically a table with two columns, the requirement and your response. And you have to go through all the documentation that's, I don't know, 500 pages, and you have to copy paste each sentence that has something like the seller shall or the seller will. You need to say we will, we shall. So it's pretty simple, but you have to manually write it, because a lot of documents are scanned, and scanned with the fridge, not scanned properly, you know. So I had to actually write, because at that time no one was using GPT or something like that. OCR wasn't working. It was a headache, totally. So yeah, it took around 1 week just for the compliance metrics. So I started actually with that feature, because I knew if I solve that, I have a value to provide, because again, I was the first customer. I felt the problem.
I can 100% confirm, because we're applying to a lot of tenders, and I know the pain.
We can speak after.
Yeah, exactly. One extra customer.
6.2?
Yeah, the power of networking here at Innovation Labs. Just to follow up on some of the things you mentioned, and I will take it in the order. Adrian, you mentioned that in the NOR is in your board. Andrei Pitiș was in your team for
not at the beginning, but he later joined. Yeah.
And I'm curious, because maybe it's a dumb question from my side. It was your initiative to go to them, or it was their initiative to discover more about the product, to help you?
It was my initiative to go to them, because I didn't tell you yet, I'm also an engineer at heart. So I graduated how it's called in English, Facultatea de Automatică și Calculatoare. I graduated as a programmer, and I'm a technical person. And I felt that I needed somebody on my side to learn to help me with the business side and also with the structuring a team, which I also did not have experience in larger tech companies.
What was the biggest issue as a technical person at heart, knowing what kind of product you want to develop? What were the issues in terms of business and building the team? What do you think you were lacking, looking back right now? Because no one knows how to build a team.
Yeah,
I believe.
So the most difficult part for me was building the team, actually. So business, I understood better. I also needed help with that, but building a team, I did not have prior experience, and it worked up at some point to be me the leader and up to, I don't know, 10, 11 people under me. But after the team grew, it became impossible to manage all the people and also to do some useful work. And together with Andrei, he helped me to create a middle management layer in Pentest tools. And at this point, we have a single management layer. But I feel that the need for two layers at this point.
So this is the good and the painful part of growing.
Yes, definitely.
But what's different, just to stay on this subject, what's different from, I don't know, hiring 10 people at the beginning, I don't know, technical people, maybe business people at the beginning, and managing them, and building a management team? Because it's coming faster than you can imagine if the company goes right.
If the company goes right, you feel the need to get more people to work on the stuff that brings value, and you figure out that those people don't always work well together, and 1 + 1 doesn't always make 2. Sometimes it makes 1.2. Because as you can imagine, not everybody is compatible with everybody, and it becomes a lot of overhead, depending on how you structure the workflows. And that's why at some point you cannot manage all of it, and you need somebody to help you. And you have a choice to grow somebody from your team to make them manager, let's say, or to bring somebody from external. We chose to grow members of the team in this position, but at this point I also feel the need to bring somebody from external with a fresh perspective for that.
Andrea, because you mentioned, following up on what you said about trying to talk with the doctors, with the radiologists, thinking now, what were the essential differences between what the initial team thought the product is and what became, after talking with their customers, basically, or the users that can become their hospitals, can become the customer?
So there were some huge differences because the first product was just an MVP, barely working. So we had a lot of unpleasant surprises when we deployed it into the hospitals. But after getting the first feedback from our real users, we learned how to build the product. We still don't have a product team, for example, so we have the AI, the DevOps team, and the customer success team that is getting feedback from the radiologist, and we're integrating that feedback into the product cycles. So we still managed to do that by our own without having someone dedicated to do the product development side and management. But I think that there might be a need, talking about future hirings. Indeed, I think that having those first customers and those early adopters that you can talk with really make a difference into how the product looks like. Because you can imagine the product in one way when you are happily coding at your PC, laptop, or phone. But then when you take the product and put it into the spotlight and into the real world, you will see that it's not working as it was supposed to be. So you had some assumptions that are actually not true. So having those customers and having the willing to talk with them and the willing to iterate on your idea, it's very valuable, because most of us are in love with the ideas that we're having, and you should go ahead at that point and start listening to what your customers have to say.
Was it a technical difference between what you thought the product was doing and what was doing for you, or it was a user experience difference?
It was both. It was first of all, it was related to the integration. So when we started the product, we had a different platform. The radiologists had to log into a web interface, and they will have all the data there. Then we realized that they don't want that, because they have a lot of cases that needs to be analyzed. Time is moving very fast into the ER, ICU, so they need to have all the information in one single point of integration. So we've learned the hard way that the way we were integrating the things wasn't the right one. And then also regarding to the user interface, we've changed a lot the interface of the software based on the feedback that we got.
And Andrei, you mentioned that TenderSite was launched from your own experience. How did you grow the team? How does the team at TenderSite look right now?
So right now we are 7 people.
7 people, okay.
Out of which 3 are devs, including me. So I'm a dev too, I'm counting too. How the team grew, it's another story, but I usually go into a lot of things, and Călin, our CTO, went along with me every time. And the last time I went into something, especially in this case TenderSite, he was very skeptical. So he stayed on the side for a lot, like 4 or 5 months. And after we gained some traction, some validation, he started to look into the issue, into the problem. And it still took another 2 to 3 months to convince him, bro, just help me. And from that point, I was lucky enough to find people that were sharing the same vision and understood the true value that we provide. And we grew from 2 to 5 pretty quickly, and from 5 to 7 again hard, because it's hard to get people into an early startup. You know, the basic drill.
How did you convince the people to join the team? Not the CTO, because it was a hard sell there.
You have to sell the dream, you know.
And what's the dream?
It's my own strategy, so I'm not sure I want to share it right now, but I'm sure I'll share it with you after you gain the traction. I'll tell you the golden way to gather the team.
Okay, so next year.
In 1 month, I think.
Okay. But I'm curious why I skipped the name of the CTO. Călin. Why was he so skeptical?
Because I did a lot of things, and I sold him the dream every time. And 1 time okay, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times, but it has a threshold, it has a limit. And I've hit that limit by far, like another 50 or so, and it was natural to have that skepticism.
But because Adrian mentioned about going from a hobby to a company, how many of these dreams were, I don't know, dreams, hobbies, interesting ideas you thought of, and how many developed into businesses?
So again, the context is that I had CoStage, actually just sold it last week, so it's the past. It was a outsourcing company, software outsourcing company, and besides the outsourcing, we were also doing some projects. And we coded all of them, not all went ballistic, let's say, but let's say around 3 really went good, but you have to be prepared for a business. And I wasn't prepared, so I did a lot of mistakes, and I lost the businesses. And now we're here.
Yeah. Let's talk about building a startup, the life of a startup. You can go to a school, you can go to hackathons, you can go to innovation labs, to other accelerators and so on. What's something that you cannot find in this kind of products, of programs, that you will find in the life of a company, something that nothing prepares you for? You can share some good or some worse experiences from the life of a startup, because I don't want to sell the dream of a happy life in a startup. Just that.
From my opinion, in every startup program, you learn, let's say, how to move from 0 to 1. And this is nice. The thing is, when you need to hold this level and to grow this level for a long term, the long term game, it's different, and it's I don't know if more difficult, but it's different than the short term. When you have an idea, it's flowering, you get to a certain stage, and from that stage on, you need to maintain and to be on top. And staying on top for long term, it's not easy.
Does the speed change?
Yes.
And how do you adapt to that?
Unfortunately, growing the team does not always grow the speed. And sometimes it's natural, sometimes it's not, because being a more mature company also brings some expectations from the customers to not do stupid mistakes. And in order to avoid those stupid mistakes, you need to have some processes and some rules. And obeying the rules takes time, and this slows down the process. And the long-term game is different.
So it's funny because I think that all the startups, no matter the size of the company or the field, the products that you are developing, have sort of the same challenges, but at a smaller size in this case. I think that building a startup is very rewarding. So when I'm looking back and I see what we've managed to achieve with our team in 5.5 years, 6 years, I'm super proud and super grateful for all the good things. But you have to be prepared, because it's very exhausted and you are playing the long-term game, not the short-term one. For us in healthcare, it's a little bit more challenging because it's a very regulated market. You need to go market by market. You need to get all the certifications, the CE mark, the FDA. It's very expensive. Things are moving very slow. You have to work with public institutions. You have to complete the documentation for the tenders and all stuff. And it's very, very exhausting. So you have to keep up with the motivation and to remember that you are playing for the long-term game, and that will take some time until you see the results. So to be honest, after 5 years, I can say honestly that I'm seeing the results of our work. But before that, this period, it was very tough for everybody because getting the customers was very challenging. The sales cycles are very long. The product development cycles are very long. So everything is taking a lot of time, and you feel that you need to move faster in order to be competitive and in order to play in the big guys area. So yeah.
Regarding this, regarding the customers and selling to them, at the beginning, I believe have you sold from the beginning, or it was let's do a trial, let's test the product, and after that maybe we can sell something?
Yeah, so we had a trial approach. So working for RayScape was the best sales school that I've ever had, because we didn't have the network, the connection. So we're just knocking on the radiologist's door from the hospitals in Bucharest, asking them if they would be nicely enough to test our solutions. And
were they?
Not really. 6 years ago, they were very skeptical about AI. They were afraid that AI will take their place. And truth being said, we were a startup. We didn't have any medical certification. If I would be a doctor, I wouldn't let a company like this playing with a patient's life. So it makes all the sense. But then we found some early adopters that were willing to take the risk and to test our products. And we had approached the trialing, which was good and bad at the same time. Then the pandemic came, and it was a positive black swan for us, because we're developing products for the health of the lung. So we made a spin-off that was dedicated to COVID-19. So it was very easy for us to get in multiple hospitals, to have the solution trial there. And we did this genuinely to help the people, not to get their money. But after the pandemic passed, we were considering to convert those trials into paying customers. And that was very difficult. And we learned the hard way how to close a deal and how to shorten the sales cycle. So giving the trial, it's good, because you get the customers to use your product, you can get their feedback, you can use them as some references, but then you need to know how and when to convert those trials into paying customers.
I will add just one more follow-up to you. How and when you convert those customers to paying customers?
So we've just learned recently that the trial period should be as short as possible, because you just need to find that sweet spot that when they're getting used with your product, they're learning about the benefits, you have to make the integration as smooth as possible, because that was another lesson that we learned by heart. Most of the deployments that we had back then were on premises. So basically we needed to ship the servers into the hospital, talk with the IT from the hospital. They weren't so knowledgeable or so willing to help, so it was very difficult to get them to connect the server. So it was a very bad story. We learned that we should do the cloud deployments just to move faster. So there are a lot of lessons that we learned during the way. But basically, going back to the trials, you should keep them as short as possible. You should identify your champions within the organization as soon as possible and use them when you want to convert. And at the end of the trial, make sure that you are presenting some real results. So, I don't know, the product was used by 90% of the radiologists in the hospital. The feedback was good in 99% of the cases. These were the main benefits for the hospital. So just make sure that you have a selling point there. And this way, the sales cycle will become shorter and easier for everybody.
Andrei, what's something that no one tells you about developing the startup? Because I come back to my original question.
Chaos will come. That's the thing. No one, actually, someone tells you chaos will come. And relating to the last question, I think it's the only thing that isn't taught by any program, university, nothing. It's like you have to live it to understand it and to know how to handle it.
So a crash course on chaos.
Exactly.
How does the chaos look like in the company, in the startup?
For me specifically.
For you specifically,
yeah. Let's say it's Monday, 2:00 afternoon, right? So 5 customers are calling, the lawyer is calling, the deployment went off, someone wants a refund. Besides that, the courier, the Glovo, knocks the door. Besides that, another person is calling me on the other phone, and you have all of the things that are going off in the same second. So for me, that's the last point I want to be in.
But I'm curious, are you, as a person, are you thriving in this chaos environment?
Sadly, yes. I've taught myself, I grew like that, so...
You enjoy it, right?
Yeah, it is my pleasure.
But because I had some follow-ups on converting trials into customers. I don't know if you do trials.
We do.
You do trials. How do you convert the trials in customers?
They convert by themselves. So I think a lot of building a great product. So in our case, we actually built a great product. And after the trial period, they just upgrade. So, yeah.
But how do you reach those testers, basically, those companies that are willing to give it a try?
For the context again, we didn't launch publicly, so we did a lot of market testing to know, actually to build around the PMF. We wanted to reach PMF as soon as possible. So instead of going public and having everything blew up in the first second when you launch, we actually did something that we name segment-based targeting. I think you know it. What we did is actually to target some groups with some specific features that are polished for that group. And we did that for 2 months, I think. And lately we are receiving a lot of inbound. So we diminished the outbound nearly to zero, and we get a lot of inbound now.
Okay. Because Adrian mentioned about procedures when the company grows, and I know everyone at the beginning when hears this word, always his or her eyes, oh, procedures, we don't need them. Let's talk about what kind of procedures you build inside the company. If you took, I don't know, some models outside, or it was based on what you had inside, your colleagues, the way they worked. It's a specific thing for Pentest tools, or you took, I don't know, some.
Yeah, to be sincere, I'm not a fan of procedures myself, because I believe that procedures transform a startup into a more mature company, which has its own disadvantages. But we had to put some rules in place, and specifically we're talking about the development workflow, how code is being written, I don't know, various rules, the review procedure, who does the review, when, who calls who, basically the workflow for some feature to get from the product specification phase, who sits on the product team. The product team talks to the engineering, engineering does development, gets back to the product with reviews. So this entire workflow had to be well structured, because, as I said, when multiple people come in, everybody wants to do his own way, and if you don't have some clear workflow, then chaos comes up. Yeah. And right now we're at the point where we want to get some certification, ISO 27001, and this will also come with some more procedures. But my focus is to try to not overcomplicate things, because yeah, if you go by the standard, everybody will tell you that you need to do a whole list of stuff. But in reality, if you stay and understand each one of them, you realize that you don't actually need all of them. And if you choose the minimum necessary, which brings a good balance of effort and benefit, so this is my focus now, to not overcomplicate and to not bring more procedures than necessary.
Yeah.
So we have some ISO certificates, we have the CE mark, we are undergoing FDA approval in United States, so we know the painful meaning of the word procedures. I think that they're important because we are medical software, so we need to be extremely well regulated because we are directly impacting the life of the patients. So on the product development side and DevOps, we have some very well established procedures that everybody should follow, which is good. Then on the, business related roles such as sales, marketing, we're still learning and adapting those procedures because indeed I think that it's very important as you are growing the company and adding more people within the company. It's very important to have some rules that everybody is following. You still need to let them to be creative and bring their own ideas. So you need to find that sweet spot, which is very difficult to find. But yeah, we are still adjusting. We're a small team, so we're 20 people in total. We still have a lot of room to play, which is good. But personally, I feel the need of more procedures. Because I really enjoy having a bit of structure, and this was the first impression when I joined a startup, that there was no structure. And it was very painful for me, and I've started to implement some structures since day one.
And just as a follow-up question for the people, what does your head of operations, what does the job role entail and the company?
A bit of this and a bit of that. So if you have a lot of tasks within the company and a lot of work that needs to be done, and you need somebody for that role, but you don't know how to market that role, just name it head of operations and people will follow. Now, jokes aside, I think that it depends a lot on the company, because, for example, I've been talking with some companies from France and Germany, and within their companies, the head of operation was a technical role. In our company is a business-related role, so I'm working closely with Stefan, the CEO of the company, to grow the company. Initially, the role was a little bit more focused on the local market because we didn't have the certification or the bandwidth to scale it internationally. But now it's an international role, and I'm managing the relationship with our channel partners. I'm opening new markets. I'm overseeing the marketing and sales department and make sure that we're aligned on what the sales process means. So a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does procedures look inside the chaos?
So, I like staying lean. So I really believe in staying lean. And again, we are 7 people right now.
Yeah.
We are not talking about 20 or 60 right now again. And we have a lot of room to play. So right now, what we do is to split by the domain. So we have the sales team, we have the dev team, and we have a big patron. That's how it's called my role. No joke, yeah, it's some inside joke, but inside our company we have with big or huge or whatever you do. Big sales, huge sales, and whatever. So everyone is responsible of their own domain, like the sales team should decide which strategy is being applied. The dev team, again, chooses, but the final decision maker is big patron. So, that's the procedure right now.
I am curious, before asking you if you have any questions, how do you fire people? Nobody talks, we are talking about growing, hiring 60 people, 20 people, 7 people, but sometimes you have to fire people.
Yeah.
And how do you prepare yourself for that?
Yeah, we had some cases when we needed to do that. It wasn't easy by all means, especially when the person has some history with the company. But you sometimes they reach a point where they don't fit any longer with the vision of the company, with how we work right now, as opposed to how we worked 5 years ago. And yeah, we had to let some people go. It's not easy, and yeah, you need to be prepared for that. Also, if you have the possibility to help the person also find another place to continue what he or she was doing, in a place where it's more fit for its own characteristics.
Yeah.
So luckily, I think that 90% of the people that were with us along the way are still in the company. So we had just a few firings all over the year, but there were some bad ones. Because I think
How bad?
Sort of bad, let's say. I think that hiring the wrong people will make a lot of damage within the company, especially if it's a small company. For example, we hired a VP of sales, who wasn't a good fit for the company, and we stayed 1.5, almost 2 years with that hiring. It was extremely expensive and with not so many results generated.
It was a results a bad fit or a culture.
Both of them, and
both.
yeah, I think that these are the worst ones. But what we've learned, so we stayed with that hiring so long because we didn't had some real KPIs. So, okay, you should achieve that target within the next 3 months, otherwise you will be fired. We didn't have that, and there were just some very sweet words telling us that he has a great experience with similar companies, a very good track record with closing big deals and stuff like that. So we were expecting the magic to happen, and we were expecting 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and the results didn't come. So I think that you should have some really well-established KPIs with all the hirings that you are making, no matter if there are, I don't know, sales roles or DevOps roles, no matter what, but you should quantify their work somehow, and when they are not delivering, just fire them faster than you were hiring them.
Yeah.
So my turn now. At Tender side, we fired 0 people.
Yes.
But with CoStage, we've been through that, and again, what Adrian was saying, we've helped the persons that we fired to find another spot to continue their work, because we had 2 rounds of firings. First one within the 2nd or 3rd year of activity. We started in 2019. So in the 2nd year or something like that, we ran out of money. So again, no money for salary. So we had to find jobs for them in other places because they also had some financial obligations. And in the 2nd round, we went with the KPI stories, where we ensured the clients that they will get what they bought, and our team had other opinions, so we had to find a way to solve that. And the way, actually, and what worked was to fire the team.
Yeah. The best opinion is a KPI.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. He has a question. So.
Just a moment with the microphone. Yes.
Test. Okay, so did you had to fire someone who had shares in the company? Because I know that in Romania law, it's very difficult to buy them back, especially if you're not listed in the stock exchange. So how did that went?
So in Pentest tools, we do have shares for employees. And yes, there was this case, but we have the possibility for the company to buy the shares of the person. Mm-hmm. So
the standard price of €1 because the guy is no longer the corporate, the rise of the raised price.
When we gave the shares to the employees, we set a fixed price, which is higher than 1, that we believed that reflected the minimum value of the company at that point. Of course, if there were to be an exit, the value would be much higher. But we agreed to buy back the shares, at least at that price.
Okay, thank you. And for the VP of sales, I guess the VP of sales might have had more shares? So,
not really.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was quite similar.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So we have a question back there.
Okay, so earlier you were talking about on-premise versus cloud deployment, just out of curiosity, especially for startups or the early stage startups, it's really complicated to go to really large clients which have everything on premise and tell them, you know what, I think you should try cloud.
Yeah.
I'm telling you it's better. How did that work for you in your case? And of course, if anyone else has any inputs, I would be happy to hear.
For us, it was a little bit more challenging because 60% of the customers that we have are public hospitals. So you go to the public hospital from, I don't know, Botoșani and tell them that they should switch from on-premise to cloud. The good part is that we found some people that were interested in switching, so we could use them as references. So for example, if one customer, I don't know, had some concerns or stuff like that, we just can put them in contact with a good reference and they can explain the situation. More than that, you need to have all the questions prepared because they will ask a lot of questions about data, data protection, GDPR, and so on and so forth. So you need to do your homeworks and know how to sell this to them. Indeed, it might take a little bit longer in the beginning until you get them on board, but if you have some references and you tell them that, okay, look, this works, we have these cases, most of them will be willing at least to try. If it's a very big enterprise customer and they have some very well established procedures, because we've talked about them, then we go ahead with on-prem integration because the deal size is very important in this equation. So if you have a very big customer, we would go 100% with on-prem just to take the customer without any other questions.
Thank you.
I have some also some perspective here. We started Pentest tools and it still is a cloud-based solution. But during the time there were customers asking us for on-prem. And I can tell you that at least on our point, it was very, very difficult to transform the cloud solution to an on-prem solution. A lot of dependencies, a lot of things that need to be packed. You have the licensing situation that it's difficult to handle. You have support, you have a lot of things. So it's definitely much easier on cloud. But as she said, you need to see what is the specific need of your customers, basically.
Thank you.
So about this on-premise deployment, here. So I thought that, Andrea, you said that you had on-premise deployment?
We still have some of the customers are still on-prem.
Okay. And you run AI solutions, so I guess you need to have specialized hardware. And how do you do that? So how do you sell the software?
Yeah, so...
Do the customer have the hardware already, or do you somehow motivate them to buy that or rent it? Or what?
So usually we have the subscription-based model. So when they are deploying the software, we're shipping the server as well. And they, in the contract, we are saying that they can use the server for the contractual period, and after that we are getting it back. So for example, if they are not renewing the contract, we are getting our server back. This is how it works.
Thank you. I might have some questions for you two afterwards because we want to use if you have time to. Thank you very much.
So I noted the question because I had it for some 5 or 10 minutes. So, what is an efficient customer pursuing tactic you discovered through your business experience? If you did customer discovery, you said you did. I assume you did find some tactics. Like, what works the best? Emailing or just stressing the customer until they respond? What do you think works the best?
In our case, was to provide something valuable for them.
In the case they don't respond?
Offer something valuable. So if you do a fair trade, you'll get a deal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But how do you pack it, basically?
No, I'm trying to say, if I mail a customer and they don't respond, and I mail again, and they don't respond, and I mail again, and they respond, why is that? Why they don't respond? Why they didn't respond on the first 2 mails? And they did respond on the third.
That's on a case-by-case basis. So the copy could be a bit off. It could seem like an automated outreach flow. I also don't answer to those kind of emails that seem automated. Besides that, if you're asking me to have a 40-minute call to show me your solution, I'm totally not interested. So I also block you if you do that. And you know, again, it's on a case by case thing.
I also don't answer to emails, so if it helps you. Basically, I read the title. I'm flooded with emails. I read the title. If it's interesting, I read the body. If not, I skip it. Okay. And even if it's interesting, if I don't need it at that point, I don't answer.
Okay. But then you might keep in mind that solution for a later on point when you might need that specific product. So it's also about nurturing the relationship with those leads. Maybe you can put them in a flow, in a marketing flow, and send them some updates from time to time. Of course, if you have the marketing consent for that, because otherwise it's not good. But yeah, as Andrei mentioned a little bit earlier, I think that it's case by case, and the copy might be a very big red flag.
And this doesn't mean that email doesn't work as a channel.
Yeah.
So it works, but you just need to find the combination of the right segment of people who have that need, and to be at the proper point in time for that person, and also to have to express very well the value proposition for that segment. So if these are a match, then you have a high chance of responding. Otherwise, it's not always your fault.
Okay.
It's not you, it's me.
Also, do you think straight LinkedIn messages are more effective than mails?
From our perspective, no.
Okay.
In our case, it depends, but you also need to have something valuable in those messages. So, for example, if we had some, customer stories showing how we solve the real pain point that they might have, it worked better than sending them, plain text with some general message. And I was also participating at some events some years ago, and one of the panelists was mentioning that he is making an intentional typo into the body text, so it will not look like an automated message. So this might be a trick that you can try.
Good to keep in mind.
Yeah.
From the experience of my colleagues who are also trying to do outreach, it works better with personalized messages rather than a standard message that you send to everybody. So I think it's better to choose a smaller pool of people and to study them and to send them personalized messages rather than a big pool with the standard message.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So my final question, because you mentioned growth, chaos, product market fit, and at the end, I wanted to ask you if you have ever been in burnout, and how do you avoid it? Are you now in burnout? Is burnout with us here?
The elephant in the room.
What protects me from burnout is my family. So since I have a family, kids, wife, I cannot basically stay 24 hours at work. Mm-hmm. So I'm forced to switch. So that's why.
Advice number one, have a life.
Yeah. Yes. Balance is good. Is good. And the balance takes you long term.
Yeah.
+1 on that opinion. So I think that it's very important to set some boundaries. I mean, find some time to go out, exercise, spend some time with your friends, because your life is not just work, and it's not sustainable to do this the long way. So yeah, you need to get a life besides work.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's something I heard, and it's totally true, as you heard before. But coming back to the question, I'm literally the burnout. Like, I am what burnout is. So burnout is my default state. It's not something good, but it's something I've been trained for. I've been working very, very active since 14 or something like that, like 20 hours a day, 18, 20. And my schedule looks like in the winter plus the fall, I work. Like I'm waking up, I work,
I sleep, I work out. Yeah, you understood. So, and in the summer, I'm 24/7 outside the country. So I'm not working, and I think that's the balance that they were talking about. It's a bit more
extreme one.
Yes, yes, but it's still balanced.
So it's basically a reverse bear here.
Yes.
You're not sleeping in the winter, you are working in the winter. Yeah. And with that being said, thank you so much. And thank you Adrian for hosting us here. Thank you Andrea, Andrei. We have a AAA panel here at Unplugged Talks. Thank you all, and see you in the semifinals, at the demo day, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.